If you had walked down Jackson Street 5 years ago, you would have known exactly where Ngozi Okafor's canteen stood without looking for a signboard. The air would have led you there. Fried plantain crackled loudly in hot oil. Thick egusi soup bubbled richly in wide silver pots. And freshly cooked jollof rice released warm clouds of spiced steam into the morning sun. Above it all was Ngozi's laughter, bright, confident, and full of life. The laughter of a woman who believed she had earned her success honestly. Ngozi was not always desperate. She was not always afraid of the dark. There was a time she believed nothing could shake her. Her canteen stood proudly at the corner of Jackson Street, where bankers, taxi drivers, mechanics, and shop owners passed every day. She knew nearly all of them by name: Modru Chinedu, extra pepper as usual. Auntie Bisi, should I add more stew today? She gave food to children who had no money. She trusted her regulars to pay later. She believed kindness was an investment that always returned with profit. And for 3 strong years, it did. Her pots emptied quickly. Her landlord respected her. Saws greeted her warmly. Customers praised her cooking openly. Then one afternoon, something small happened. A quiet young man named Tunde ordered rice and stew. He took a bite, paused and frowned slightly. Auntie Ngozi, did you change your recipe? She laughed lightly. Change what? This is my same old stew. Tunde hesitated. It just tastes different. Ngozi tasted it herself. It seemed fine. But Tunde did not finish his meal. She ignored it. The next day, a woman whispered while eating. The following day, 2 customers left half their food untouched. Within weeks, something shifted. People who once rushed eagerly into her shop now stood outside for a moment before entering. They looked at her pots carefully, suspiciously. Ngozi reacted the only way she knew how. She cleaned everything thoroughly. She changed ingredients. She replaced suppliers. She arrived earlier and closed later. She scrubbed her kitchen until her fingers ached. But the decline continued. The whispers grew louder. They say her food tastes strange. Maybe she's using bad ingredients. Something isn't right. The hardest part was not losing money. It was losing trust. Trust does not disappear with noise. It fades quietly until one day it is simply gone. Within 3 months, Ngozi's savings were finished. Her landlord knocked impatiently. Sasas refused to give her goods on credit. Some days she barely sold enough to survive. One evening, she sat alone in her dark canteen, beneath a flickering bulb, staring at untouched pots of soup. I worked too hard for this, she whispered, tears falling freely. God, why is this happening? The door creaked open. Kemi Adewale stepped inside. Kemi owned the vegetable stall across the street. She had always watched Ngozi's busy shop from a distance. You look tired, Kemi said. From a distance. You look tired, Kemi said softly. Business is slow, Ngozi replied quietly. Kemi leaned closer. There is someone who can help you. Ngozi frowned. A spiritual healer. Kemi continued. People say he restores lost fortune. His name is Baba Ezekiel. Ngozi stiffened immediately. I don't believe in those things. You don't have to believe, Kemi said calmly. You just have to try. The suggestion should have sounded ridiculous. But desperation makes dangerous ideas sound reasonable. For days, Ngozi tried to ignore the thought. But each empty afternoon watered it. Each unpaid bill strengthened it. 2 nights later, she found herself walking toward the forest at the edge of town. The deeper she went, the quieter everything became. Even the wind seemed cautious. When she reached the shrine, red cloth hung from trees like warnings. Candles flickered in uneven circles. Strange symbols were drawn on the ground. At the center sat a man dressed in dark robes. "You are losing customers," he said before she could speak. Ngozi's heart skipped. "Yes, your spirit is disconnected from your food," he continued. "You must bind your essence to it. Let those who eat feel attached to you." His voice was calm, convincing. She asked if it was safe. He smiled faintly. "Nothing powerful is completely safe." She should have left. She did not. He gave instructions carefully. It had to be done before sunrise. It had to involve something deeply personal. It had to remain secret. The next morning before dawn, Ngozi stood in her kitchen. The air felt heavy. The silence felt thick. Her hands trembled as she prepared her soup. "This is for survival," she whispered. She followed his instructions exactly. Later that day, customers began returning. Hope filled her chest. But the first man who tasted the food grimace. Another spat hers out immediately. Within minutes, confusion and anger filled the shop. "What is this taste? Did something spoil? Is she trying to poison us?" She scraped loudly as customers rushed out. Ngozi felt her heart shatter. The rumors turned darker. "She's mixing strange things." She went to a shrine. Stay away from her. The next day, no one came. That night, she heard a spoon fall in her kitchen. She rose slowly from bed. Nothing was out of place, but the sounds continued on other nights. Then came the whispers. Soft, faint, real. Gideon seeing shadows near her stove. Ingredient spoiled overnight. She woke every morning exhausted, as though something drained her strength. Terrified, she returned to Baba Ezekiel. "You said this would help me," she cried. He looked at her calmly. "You asked for control," he said. "I gave you attachment." Serve Posidol's Natifaleda. One afternoon that Hajar invited cozy left colder than she had ever felt. But then she discovered something else. While her business collapsed, Kemi's vegetable stall flourished. Customers who once crowded Ngozi's shop now gathered around Kemi's stand. One afternoon, Ngozi overheard two women whispering. Kemi was the first to say Ngozi's food tasted strange. Yes, she started spreading it months ago. Ngozi confronted her that evening. "Did you tell people my food was bad?" Kemi avoided her eyes. Then she sighed. "Your shop was too successful. Everyone praised you. No one noticed me." The truth struck Ngozi painfully. The first complaint had not been about taste. It had been about jealousy. Rumors had poisoned trust long before fear poisoned her mind. That night, she returned home shaking. Tied to her door was a strip of red cloth. The same red cloth from the shrine. Beneath it was a note. "You still belong to me." Signed like Ezekiel. Her blood ran cold. She ran back to the forest at dawn. There was no shrine, no candles, no red cloth. Nothing. The place looked untouched for years. She asked elders in town about Baba Ezekiel. No one knew him. She asked Kemi why she recommended him. Kemi stared at her in confusion. I never told you about any shrine, she insisted. Ngozi's heart pounded violently. If Kemi didn't send her, who did? She remembered that night in her shop where she cried alone. She remembered hearing a whisper behind her. Go to the forest. What if it hadn't been Kemi? What if fear itself had spoken? Or worse, what Ezekiel had never been human? Ngozi slowly rebuilt her business with honesty and patience. She regained trust little by little. She refused shortcuts. She refused fear. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind taps against her kitchen window, she still hears something faint. Not loud, not threatening, just close enough to remind her. The greatest danger was never the shrine. It was the fear that made her listen. And once fear opens a door, it does not always close it completely.
Who's there?
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel.
Yes, please subscribe.
And like the video.